Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick with the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, I'm bringing you guys second-year breakout wide receivers for Dynasty Fantasy Football in 2021. Now, we are going to be talking about the second-year guys, which were the players drafted in 2020. They were rookies last year. Now they're going into their sophomore season in the NFL. And these are the guys that I feel like are going to break out of that shell and play much better in 2021. Now, this video is circled around the dynasty aspect of fantasy football, but if you play redraft your normal league, then don't fret away. Don't run away. It's still going to help you out because I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on the player, and maybe that will help you guys mold your brain about how redraft is going to go down in August. So before we get into it, I'd like to ask if that at any point inside this video you end up enjoying, please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below, because not only is it free, I put out content pretty much every single day reflecting on the 2020 NFL season and how we can go and attack your league and eat that W like your name was famous Jameis Winston in 2021. So let's get into it. Second year breakout wide receivers. We begin with Laviska Shenault, wide receiver of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, Laviska Shenault right now is in the perfect area to have that breakout 2021 season. We have seen people from the 2020 NFL draft class break out already. They are not included in this video. In my opinion, CeeDee Lamb has done that. In my opinion, T. Higgins has done that. And obviously, Justin Jefferson has done that. The guy set a rookie receiving record. Obviously, he has broken out already, so that's why they're not in this video, so you don't have to go down below and comment, "Oh, Nick, you dumb motherfucker, why are these guys not in here?" That's why. So Laviska Shenault of the Jacksonville Jaguars has the potential to be a league-winning wide receiver in 2021, and I advise that if you're in any league with someone who does not believe in the Laviska Shenault Express, like the Polar Express, you need to go ahead and get this guy right now. And in your Dynasty startup drafts, this is a guy that I'm heavily targeting. Wide receiver 47 in PPR last season and wide receiver number 47 in half PPR. Now, that doesn't seem all fine and dandy, but Jacksonville is a whole different team from last season. They go from having a coach in Doug Marrone who has no idea what he's doing to, well, he actually did, because he led that team very well into the playoffs just a couple of years ago. Almost made it to the Super Bowl. And now he's fired Urban Meyer's the head coach, but the coaching change isn't really what does it for me. It doesn't get my rocks off. What does is quarterback Trevor Lawrence likely going to this team. Now, obviously, this all gets thrown out the window if Urban Meyer does some type of mental gymnastics, some mental warfare into his own brain, and does something dumb by drafting Fields or Wilson at number 1, which I will not go ahead. I will judge that, actually. So if this happens, that take happens, somehow they draft Wilson, somehow they don't draft Trevor Lawrence, then throw Laviska out the window, because I don't know how to feel about that. But with Trevor Lawrence, I think Laviska Shenault is going to take a humongous year 2 step, and that's why he's number 1 on this list. They're not really in order. It was just kind of at the beginning, I felt like I would get real invested in Laviska Shenault because I really like this guy coming out of college, and I really like him now in Jacksonville. Now, he did play 14 games played, but he only started 12 of those. He had 58 receptions, 79 targets, 600 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns, 18 rushes, and 91 rushing yards, which is something I wanted to note about his stats. This guy is a real big gadget player. Now, he's not like Taysom Hill, where he can also play quarterback, but he's going to be a guy that's going to get these rushes. He's going to be able to get these jet sweeps, these type of plays that other wide receivers are not going to get unless they're like Laviska Shenault or McCole Hardman or something, any of those guys that get these type of plays. But Laviska Shenault is going to have this breakout season, 157.1 PPR points in 2020 and 128.1 half PPR points. Why? Because of Trevor Lawrence and because this second year step up is going to be big. Now, I understand you can't necessarily put Laviska in a box because, hey, Nick, every player dealt with the same shit. They all had this COVID offseason. Some rookies really flourished like Justin Jefferson, blah, 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 blah. But I think we are going to see big leaps from some of these players, given the extra time in camp with their team, all of this, building this new rapport. I really think Laviska Shenault is going to have a humongous season in 2021, as long as Trevor Lawrence is the starting quarterback of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Next guy here, we got Denzel Mims of the New York Football Jets. Now, he would have been number 1 on this list had the Jets not screwed the pooch and accidentally won a game that they should have lost so that they could get Trevor Lawrence. Instead, it's going to be Laviska Shenault we talked about first, because he and the Jaguars won the Trevor Lawrence experience. Mims, very good. Very, very good out of college, was kind of underdrafted, but a lot of these wide receivers fell into the second round of the 2020 NFL draft. But Mims, unlike these other guys, wasn't really given much of a chance. Wide receiver number 106 in PPR, wide receiver 109.5 PPR. While Laviska did definitely experience quarterback hell, Gardner Minshew was starting, Jake Luton was starting, they had Mike the Neck Glennon? Like, come on. Now, in 2021, we're going to be seeing Laviska with a real quarterback in Trevor Lawrence, because Gardner was a real quarterback, let's be honest with you. They just didn't start him because they didn't want to win too many games. Now, Denzel Mims is not going to have Sam Darnold, likely. Now, even if he still has Sam Darnold, I'm still bought in strictly based on the head coaching change. Adam Gase has no idea how to coach anything. I'm surprised he was able to even make his kids potty trained so that they would actually not just shit on the floor like your dog. I honestly am surprised that guy was competent enough to do that, and I'm surprised that Peyton Manning would ever vouch for him because of how dumb he is. I think that he is the reason what was holding Denzel Mims back, and I think in 2021, we see Mimsy unleashed. 9 games played, 8 games started. So again, didn't have a full year because he was banged up early on in the season. 23 receptions, 45 targets, 357 receiving yards, 60.7 PPR points, and 49.2 half PPR points in 2020. It is safe to say that Mims is in a very good situation with head coach, former defensive coordinator of the San Francisco 49ers in Saleh coming in there, is going to go ahead and really change the culture of this team to go from a losing team to a team that actually knows what the fuck they're doing. And I really think Denzel Mims is the wide receiver 1 of this team as long as all things go right and they don't start drafting 7 million guys in the draft. Next guy up here, no-brainer, Jerry Jeudy of the Denver Broncos, wide receiver 45 in PPR, wide receiver 44.5 PPR in 2020. This guy did play in all 16 games, but he only started 14. Now, you're going to look at his stats and you're going to say, Nick, this is a guy who cannot catch the ball. 52 receptions on 113 targets, and you know what? He did have struggles with dropping. It was not all on Drew Lock in 2020. It was not completely his fault, but it also doesn't help when Jerry Jeudy isn't playing well. When Jeudy is down in the dumps, when he's just dropping balls that are wide open, when Sutton is not there either, that hurts Jeudy. Now, you would think that would help him, but in reality, it doesn't, because now the best corner is going to be on Jeudy, when normally he would have gotten the second best corner, and Sutton would have taken up more targets and would have been a bigger presence on the team, which would have helped out a young wide receiver in Jerry Jeudy. Now, there's also the expectation, at least to me, that Drew Lock is not the starting quarterback, and that it's someone else. Now, again, this is complete and utter just guessing at this point. It's a guessing game. Will it be Stafford? Could Aaron Rodgers go there? You don't fucking know at this point in the season. You really don't know. But you would hope that a new quarterback goes there and that really assists Jerry Jeudy. I don't think it's going to be Aaron Rodgers, but I just thought that's funny because people are saying Aaron Rodgers might leave the Green Bay Packers. 3 touchdowns, 2 fumbles, 157.6 PPR points, and 131.6 half PPR points in 2020. And I just see that this one was so obvious. That's why I didn't talk about it earlier, because this guy is a freak talent coming out of college. Thought of as potentially the number 1 wide receiver in the class out of Alabama. Didn't have a great rookie season, but had the targets. All he needs is a quarterback that is fucking competent to throw him the ball. Next guy here, Michael Pittman Jr. of the Indianapolis Colts. Now, Pittman does kind of have a crowded room around him, but at the end of the day, he should emerge as the wide receiver 1 of this offense and had multiple games this season where he was that. Now, the quarterback change here is inevitable. Phillip Rivers retired. Jacoby Brissett's probably gone. Not sure why they would pay him again. Jacob Eason's the starter right now, but Eason's not going to be the starter in 2021 probably, so maybe it's Stafford again. It's just pure guessing game right now. We don't really know, but what I assume is the Colts are ready to give an offer that they cannot refuse to whoever to be the starting quarterback of a team that is in a situation to win the Super Bowl as long as they get the right quarterback. Rivers was pretty solid, but he just was not the piece for them. He took them to the playoffs. Very good. Great end of the career for Phillip Rivers, but I think this year bringing in someone new will really help out Michael Pittman, wide receiver 78 in PPR and wide receiver 80 in half PPR. The biggest struggle of Pittman's game had to have been finding the end zone. Only scoring one time in 2020 is going to hamper your total when it comes to the end of the season. For fantasy points, that is obviously just one touchdown is going to screw you over, and why he finished so low. He had 61 targets, 40 receptions, 500 plus receiving yards, being 503 in his rookie season, 3 rushes for 26 yards, 98.9 PPR points, and 78.9 half PPR points. So I think that Michael Pittman Jr. coming into 2021, potentially being the alpha wide receiver in Indianapolis, is going to do big things for the Colts, and as long as they get that puzzle piece fit for the quarterback position, I love Pittman in 2021. I find it very interesting. Majority of these guys, everyone we talked about so far, it's not a guarantee at who's going to be their quarterback, besides maybe the Jets, because I just feel like it's going to be Darnold for the final year. And the final guy here is Quintez Cephus of the Detroit Lions. Now, it seems like Golladay and Marvin Jones may be skedaddling away from the Detroit Lions because we already saw Mr. Stafford leave. So that's the biggest issue with this, but again, you're still thinking long-term in Dynasty, so this could be a big long-term solution to your Dynasty roster if Cephus can become a wide receiver 1 or 2 on this team. Obviously, he wasn't looked at as that this year, but with the team changing, with players going in and out of the lineup, Quintez Cephus, when given the opportunity, was pretty good, and I think if he's given a much heavier workload in 2021, could really elevate himself to continue the career as a solid wide receiver for fantasy football, wide receiver 101 in PPR, wide receiver 101 in half PPR, 13 games played, 2 games started, 20 receptions, 35 targets, 349 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns, 66.9 PPR points, and 56.9 half PPR points. I think that Quintez Cephus is not the greatest player of all time, but based strictly on the situation that he's in, he's worthy of a throw. Hey, I'd like to give you my 4th round pick in the rookie draft for Quintez Cephus, and then that's just better than a hope, because a lot of the guys you draft in the 4th round of your rookie draft are going to end up being very good. So thank you guys all so much for watching. If you did end up enjoying this video, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below. I love each and every single one of you motherfuckers. Have a great rest of your guys' day. As always, goodbye!